It is the morning of the 21st of March 1923, and Prasad Rao Keshav Rao Salve, a well-to-do lawyer in the beatific town of Chhindwara in central India, is headed back home from court in a hurry. He has just heard that his wife Cornelia has gone into labor and might deliver any time now. As was the norm in those days, children were mostly delivered at home under the ministration of midwives. As he paces anxiously in the expectation of good news, little does he know that an event of rare auspiciousness is about to occur in his house, and that his house has been chosen for the witnessing of a miracle. The signs are portentous. It is a day of equinox, when the diurnal and the nocturnal durations are exactly equal, a moment of astral equipoise and balance. At the stroke of noon, the sweet cries of a newly born child reverberate through the house. The miracle has taken place. Nirmala Salve is born. Into the arms of a joyous and delighted father is given a child who will be an agent of supreme divinity in this world, an incarnation of all the great spirits that have inhabited the earth from time to time, an incarnation of Adi Shakti, the primal causative force that governs the universe, an incarnation of every form of Godhead known to man. Today, we know that beautiful fair girl as Her Holiness Mataji Nirmala Devi, the creator of Sahaj Yoga. The story of her life is a story of unending miracles. Miracles brought about by the amazing power of her divinity and unending love. The incredible power of good that has been unleashed by her has worked like a soothing balm in this acrimonious and largely negative world. And today, we are able to enjoy the fruit of her labor and have a path laid out for us to unlock our own potential and ascend towards the final spiritual epiphany through the path of Sahaj Yoga.
Sahaj means simple. Sahaj is with you. The whole power is with you to become one with the divine. But that power has been distorted by using different incarnations and fighting. For example, Hindus fighting Muslims, see Christians fighting non-Christians, all sorts of things. So this is what is the loss of truth, and on which I insisted that they should see the truth within themselves. When they will discover it themselves, it will work out. And it has worked.
The house she was born in was one among many owned by her father in Chhindwara, where he had a good practice as a lawyer. The architecture of the house was typical of the houses in that area. A regular Christian Sahib's bungalow, with Gothic arches and stained glass windows. P.K. Salve was on good terms with the British establishment and had been conferred the title of Rao Sahib for his services as a recruiting officer in the First World War. This was 1923, and England was just about recovering from the ravaging effects of the First World War. The great Indian movement for independence was beginning to gather momentum, and Mahatma Gandhi was emerging as a key leader of the Indian National Congress Party, which was spearheading the movement. But the Salve household was unaware of its political destiny as yet. Years passed peacefully at the beautifully constructed bungalow in Chinwada, and you would most probably have heard the laughter of children as little Nirmala, her brothers and sisters, and other little friends gathered together to play and make merry. This was the house of Shri Mataji's earliest days as a child, a house that is still remembered by her with that special feeling of nostalgia and joy in her heart.
I remember the house of my father, which was a very nice house. My father had dogs in the house, and I was very fond of them. Also, he had one monkey, and I always used to go and talk to the monkey, give him food. But one thing I remember is a parrot, which was very much understanding me. My childhood has been very beautiful. I was very fond of trees and also of the garden, flowers. I was very much fond of. And my father, especially, he looked after that side of my life. He taught me what flowers are, what fruits are. I was very young, but he used to teach me and show me all these things. And since then, I've developed a great sense of colors and fragrance. I had tremendous love for animals, love for my family, my brothers and sisters, also my cousins. I loved them very much. Anybody came to my house, I would take out some mangoes or something. As a little girl, I used to offer to them. And main thing is my love was so inviting that whenever they came also they used to find out where is Nirmala. My mother was a very careful woman. She used to give me bath herself. She would not leave it with the ayahs, though we had servants. But all the time she was looking after me. And when I grew up, she said that I knew you are a girl and girls must be looked after. My father was another very great gentleman. He was a lawyer, very well known, very intelligent, but also very good at building houses.
This then is the blessed house where Shri Mataji spent her earliest days as a child. These are the blessed tiles on which Shri Mataji's tiny feet walked when she was a mere toddler. These sacred walls have absorbed the very first vibrations of our beloved mother. In every nook and cranny of this house are such wonderful vibrations that even casual visitors suddenly feel a palpable change in their consciousness. This is the room where Shri Mataji was born. This is the absolute sanctum sanctorum of this bungalow that has now become a holy temple.
When they come to this holy house, they feel the presence of Mother in every corner of this house. They feel blessed. They feel as if Mother has just been here. and even non-Sahaj yogis, when they pass nearby, they get attracted to this place. Everybody knew about this birthplace, and finally, after some negotiations, this was acquired on 14th of July 2005. After that, this place has been renovated, and it has been ensured that all the old things, all the old fixtures, doors, mirrors have been retained as far as possible, and wherever they were not functional or were in a very bad shape, same type of material has been used to restore it. So one can say that this whole building has been brought back to its old glory in the same way, with same material, and it is looking beautiful as you are seeing.
In readiness for the expectedly large number of Sahaj yogis who would like to visit this shrine, elaborate arrangements are being made for their accommodation. A new international ashram is being constructed at a village called Linga, which is 10 kilometers from Chhindwara. It is a beautiful site with green hills all around and a check dam which adds to its charm.
We have about 35 acres of land, and this place will become extremely important for all Sahaj yogis. So we have planned in phases. First of all, we are planning to have accommodation for about 500 people. Then it will go to 1,000. As per requirement, the accommodation will keep on increasing. And then we will have infrastructure services, like we will have a very good dining hall, museum, library, and whatever is required for the comfort of Sahaj yogis, that will come up.
ये हम सारे सहयोगी भाई बहनों के लिए एक बहुत ही गर्व की बात है। ये एक ऐसा पवित्र स्थान जिसकी कल्पना हम सारे सहयोगी भाई बहन हमेशा करते हैं। ये एक इतना बड़ा सहज का तीर्थ स्थान हो जहाँ पे दुनिया के सारे लोग समय समय पर यहाँ पर आ करके इस भूमि को स्पर्श करके अपने आप को पवित्र रखें।
Most important thing about this house is that at that time there must not have been much habitation here, and what they liked most, my parents, both my parents, that there should be plenty of light and plenty of air, fresh air, and there must be a neem tree always, and there must be a veranda and all spacious rooms and plenty of rooms. This house, as told by my mother, was designed by her because she was a mathematician. She had, having graduated from Ferguson College with mathematics, but it was she who insisted that Papa should renounce the title of Rao Sahib, which was conferred upon him by the British, and take a plunge into the freedom struggle. So Papa decided to sell this house and migrate to Nagpur.
When Sri Mataji reached the age of 4, the family migrated to Nagpur, a much bigger town where she joined a missionary school. It was at Nagpur that P.K. Salve and his wife Cornelia decided to join the Indian movement for independence with full gusto. The decision brought about a sea change in the lifestyle of the whole family. From a position of wealth and affluence, the Salves voluntarily chose a life of austerity. The worldly comforts that came with the friendship of the British had to be forfeited. From now on, it was simple living and high thinking for the Salves.
You'll be amazed, my father burnt all his suits. They were stitched in England. My mother burnt all her saris. They used to spin their own clothes and wear them. I had only one coat throughout my education. But we never grudged and never grumbled and never said that our father should have looked after us and done something. Why did he just sacrifice everything for the country? Never, never, never. That quality was created. I should say by Mahatma Gandhi. He made everybody so transformed into a new personality. I must say Gandhiji had a special charm. I don't know how he managed. He was like touch of Midas, touched anybody, he became transformed.
Mahatma Gandhi was extremely fond of children and had a special affection for the intelligent and quick-witted Nirmala. Over the years, the interaction she had with the Mahatma shaped her ideas and philosophy to quite an extent. In Sahaj Yoga, you will find quite a bit of Gandhian thinking.
Throughout, if you study the way all these people were brought up, there's one thing very common is sacrifice. I've seen it with my own eyes. Such people in this country, whom you may call legendary, but I've seen it. Thousands of people were killed and butchered. Children died. Nobody shed tears. Nobody shed tears.
As years progressed, P.K. Salve got into the thick of political activity and became quite close to Mahatma Gandhi. He even went to jail for 6 months because of his political affiliations.
My father was a congressman and went to jail. I joined a school here later on when I was 5 years of age. It's called as St. Ursula School. I was in that school, but they were missionaries. So when my father was arrested, they threw us out of the school. So I joined another national school called as Bhide Girls College. And it is one of the best schools in the whole of Madhya Pradesh. In our family, people were playing all kinds of things like badminton, cricket. And from very childhood, I was interested in all these games. And badminton especially, I was a champion.
Once, she challenged Polen Bhaiya. And she said that come, we'll have a wrestling match. And they wrestled and Nirutai won.
Young Nirmala was also seized with the nationalistic zeal. She was always extremely energetic and was a natural leader among her peers. In 1942, during the Quit India movement, she participated in many daring episodes of picketing and was also part of an underground group that carried out many secret missions.
Because we were all college students and we all wanted to stop the colleges, then somehow or other we got into another kind of mysterious acting. We used to distribute bulletins, used to call them. We used to call them bullets, and spread disorder among students. That time students were very alert that we should have our independence, we should be a free country, and people were not so dishonest that they are now. After that I joined Science College because I wanted to do medicine. But Science College, we had a strike and I became the leader of the students. So they asked me to get out of the college. So I had to leave the college. Then I went to Lucknow to study in Isabella Thuban College. That's also another missionary. But from there I did my inter-science. And then I did my medicine from Lahore.
In the year 1947, P.K. Salve was a member of the Central Legislative Assembly at Delhi, while Nirmala was studying in her 4th year of medicine at Lahore. It was at this juncture that a tall young man was introduced into the Salve household. His name was Chandrika Prasad Srivastava. Chandrika Prasad Srivastava was a college friend of Nirmala's older brother, Narendra Kumar Salve. He was temporarily working for the Ministry of Commerce in Delhi and needed a place to stay for a few days. Narendra Kumar invited him to stay as a house guest at the Firoz Shah Road house, and C.P. Srivastava accepted the invitation. Little did he know that this was a move that would change his life in such a significant manner. He soon became very popular in the large Salve family, both among the elders and the young. It was natural, therefore, for Narendra Kumar to think of him as a suitable match for his sister Nirmala.
In our country in those days, there was no choice, nothing. Whatever parents said, you had to listen. So, according to the choice of my parents, they selected him. He was a friend of my brother. And my brother said he's a very nice person, this, that. So they married me to him. That's what it is.
On the 7th of April 1947, Nirmala Salve and C.P. Srivastava were married in a simple civil ceremony. It was a unique marriage from all angles. There was hardly anything common between the two.
Now, this was a situation of a very remarkable kind. I came, as I told you, from old families, conservative families, pro-establishment families, landholders. And here was a family fighting the British, totally on the other side. So it was a totally different background. My background was totally different. And I was from UP, a particular community. She belonged, they were of another community, as you know. So there was nothing common between us as far as heritage goes.
But despite the regional, cultural and linguistic differences, there was a very strong common point that they both shared. Their love for the country, their love for India. And soon, they both saw their biggest dream come true. The dream of seeing India as a free nation.
On 15th August, we were together, standing with the whole family, Salve family, in front of the Secretariat, watching the Union flag going down and the Indian flag going up, India becoming independent. So we together, which we wanted very much, saw India rising.
In the early years of her marriage, Nirmala Salve lived like a normal housewife with her extraordinary husband. They soon had two lovely daughters, Kalpana and Sadhana, and Nirmala's life was woven around their upbringing and education. Wherever he went as an officer of the prestigious Indian Administrative Service, Mr. C.P. Srivastava distinguished himself with his extreme efficiency, honesty and academic brilliance. Shri Mataji was right beside C.P. Srivastava in all the ups and downs of his high office. She was no silent housewife. In fact, she took active interest in the affairs of the state and was part of many a discussion which eventually shaped the national policy. The Tashkent Agreement was a high point in the diplomatic life of Mr. C.P. Srivastava. However, the untimely death of the Prime Minister, while still at Tashkent, was like a bolt from the blue and was a huge loss to the nation. For Mr. C.P. Srivastava and his family, it was a great personal loss. Soon afterwards, Mr. C.P. Srivastava was made the Chairman and Managing Director of the Shipping Corporation of India, and the whole family shifted to Bombay. Here too, he excelled beyond all expectations and was lauded universally for making SCI the largest public sector company in India in the shortest possible time. In the meanwhile, Shri Mataji was readying herself for a much larger role in the world. Both her daughters were more or less settled in life, and she was now in a position to give more time to her deepest interest, spirituality. Until now, she had been an excellent wife and a loving mother, but it was time to fulfill her true destiny. It was time to become the loving mother to the whole world.
From my childhood, I have been a spiritual person, very major. I read all the Gitas and other saints and all these. In India, in Marathi, we have great saints. I read them also. But I was surprised they were not telling the truth. The truth that we all can get self-realization, that we have got that power within us. And this is what made me take up spirituality.
The deep questions of the universe and the self had been gnawing in her heart for a long time. On the 5th of May 1970, on a lonely beach of Nargol, about 150 kilometers from Mumbai, all of a sudden, she had an incredible moment of self-realization. And in that moment of immense clarity, she saw a vision of the indescribable ultimate. From then on, she knew she had come upon this earth for a very special purpose, to share with humanity the glimpse of the beautiful truth that she had personally experienced, and also to tell them that it was within their powers to ascend to that fragrant, rarefied realm themselves.
I started going to different people supposed to be preaching about spirituality, talking about spirituality. But what I found, they themselves were not spiritual. Very greedy, trying to want everything, running after women. I said, what sort of things these are? If they are like this, what are they going to teach me? So I gave up hopes. Then I started searching myself, within myself. Then one day, in a forest I was, with lots of people who were seeking. And I went near the big talab ko kya kehte?
To the sea.
Talab. And there I was sitting. And suddenly a light came into me. And I saw it clearly that I am a satisfied soul. I don't need anything. I don't want anything. And that is the time when I saw a few things happening.
Thus was born Sahaj Yoga, a wonderful, joyous means of achieving self-realization, a new way of life, a glittering path to happiness, health, and the fulfillment of pure desires. A never-before-tried method of en masse self-realization through which thousands of people could get a connection to their spirit and thereby their inner transformation. Sahaj Yoga was Mataji's gift to mankind. In 1974, Mr. C.P. Srivastava was elected as the Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization in London. This appointment was a peaking achievement in an already glorious career, and it proved fortuitous for the movement of Sahaj Yoga, because in London, Sahaj Yoga found an international platform.
It all worked out. My husband should get a job in England, that I should go with him there. There I meet people of that kind. It's a fragrance of spirituality which spreads.
And soon the world began to discover the amazing truth of Sri Mataji's teachings. Starting with a few seekers, she began to help people get self-realization by raising their Kundalini. Kundalini is the subtle primordial energy that exists within all human beings and which upon rising has the ability of giving you complete self-knowledge. The manifestation of self-knowledge could be felt as a cool breeze over one's head or on one's palms. With such immediate, palpable and verifiable effects of Sri Mataji's spiritual power, the popularity and success of Sahaj Yoga was a foregone conclusion. Today, Sahaj Yoga is spread across 80 countries. It bars no one from entering its fold and charges no money for its activities. It does not require you to change your beliefs or creeds, but to assimilate and practice the values of Sahaj Yoga while continuing to follow your own religion. She has travelled to almost every part of the world and addressed humongous gatherings there. Mataji has on occasion given self-realization to as many as 100,000 people at one time. Shri Mataji's life has indeed been a long and glorious journey. This long journey has not only spanned the globe, but has also touched the hearts of a myriad people. Thousands of lives have been transformed, and countless hearts have been changed. And the shining love that Shri Mataji enkindles through Sahaj Yoga keeps travelling from one heart to another. But perhaps it is time for us to remember that this great journey began in a small little quaint town called Chhindwara. In this very edifice, where one can so clearly feel the divine power of the Mother. For all those who are seeking to ascend towards self-realization, for all those who want to feel the most amazing presence of Shri Mataji through the powerful vibrations that can be felt in every corner of the house, Chhindwara is the place to come.
I think that house has lots of vibrations. That's what people tell me. And where I was born was a small little room. That's what they tell me, where I was born. And from there, they feel the vibrations coming. Whenever they go, they meditate there. And they were telling me, they have done tremendous work. Tremendous work. I mean, I can't tell you how people can work out